Have you ever looked at someone well into their 90s, maybe even 100, and thought, how do they do it? Not just living that long, but really living. Still smiling, still sharp, still moving with purpose. You might be sipping your morning tea or coffee right now, wondering if those golden years could actually be golden. Not filled with pills and pain, but peace, energy, and joy. If that's crossed your mind even once, then stay right here with me, because today, we're going to explore something truly inspiring. Around the world, in little corners of the globe, there are people who are quietly defying what we think we know about aging. They're not just surviving past 100, they're thriving. These are the centenarians of the world. Some live in the mountains of Sardinia. Others, on peaceful islands in Japan. And a few more, in sunlit villages of Costa Rica or Greece. But they all seem to share a few powerful secrets, and what's beautiful is that those secrets aren't locked away in science labs or expensive health clinics. They're simple, practical, and they're available to you right now. The truth is, aging doesn't have to mean fading. It can mean becoming even more you. So, if you've ever wanted to know how people live not just longer but better, then let's take a quiet moment together and talk about the first of these beautiful, life-giving habits. One of the most powerful, and surprisingly simple, things these centenarians have in common is how they move. But here's the twist, they don't go to the gym. They're not doing crunches or lifting weights. Instead, they just keep moving throughout their day in gentle, natural ways. In Okinawa, Japan, for example, the elders often sit on the floor. Sounds basic, right? But think about it, when you sit on the floor, you naturally stand up and sit down more often. You stretch your legs, shift your body, and stay flexible without even realizing it. In Costa Rica's Nicoya Peninsula, older folks walk everywhere. Not as a chore, but as part of life. They garden. They visit neighbors. They sweep their front porches. It's not exercise in the way we think of it, it's simply a life that doesn't stop moving. So here's the takeaway, you don't need to run marathons to stay young. Just move naturally and often. Maybe it's taking a short walk after dinner, stretching when you get up in the morning, or even tending a few plants. That gentle rhythm of daily motion? It's a quiet kind of magic for your body. Now, let's talk about something you might not expect, a sense of purpose. In Japanese, there's a word for this, ikigai. It means your reason for getting up in the morning. It doesn't have to be something grand like writing a novel or running a charity. Sometimes, it's as simple as caring for your garden, cooking lunch for a grandchild, feeding the birds. In these long-living communities, people don't retire from life. They don't stop contributing. They stay connected to something that makes them feel useful, valued. I remember reading about a man in his late 90s who still carves wooden toys for the local children. Or a woman, 103, who teaches younger folks how to cook traditional meals. That sense of being needed, even in a small way, seems to fuel their spirit. So, ask yourself gently, what gives you joy? What do you wake up looking forward to? It could be as simple as talking to a neighbor, writing in a journal, or even just watching the sunrise with a quiet heart. That's your purpose. That's your ikigai. And it matters. Another thing these centenarians do beautifully is something we sometimes forget in the rush of modern life, they connect. With each other. With family. With neighbors. In Sardinia, for example, it's common to see generations living under the same roof, or at least on the same street. Meals are shared. Stories are passed down. Laughter echoes through courtyards. There's a deep sense of belonging. Loneliness, sadly, has become a quiet epidemic among older adults in many parts of the world. But in these longevity hotspots, people are rarely alone. They make time for conversation. For checking in. For truly seeing one another. And you know what? That kind of connection, it heals. It lowers stress. It boosts immunity. It reminds you that you are not alone. Even if you don't live with your children or grandchildren, there are gentle ways to build that connection again. Maybe it's calling a friend each morning, joining a walking group, sitting on a bench at the park and smiling at passers-by. That simple act of being part of something, of feeling like you belong, it's as vital as any vitamin. So we've touched on movement, purpose, and connection. And already, you might be starting to feel something shift, a little spark of possibility. You don't need a passport or a new wardrobe or a fancy supplement to start living like these long-living souls. You just need to begin, right where you are. There's so much more to share, and we're just getting started. When we start to look at aging not as a decline, but as a deepening, a time to grow into ourselves more fully, it changes everything. It's not about chasing youth. It's about embracing vitality. And that's exactly what these centenarians remind us. We've talked about how they move naturally, how they hold on to purpose, and how they stay connected to the people around them. But there's another layer, just as powerful, that keeps them going strong year after year, and that's what they put on their plate. Now, let's be honest, eating well after 60 can feel like a bit of a puzzle sometimes. Maybe your appetite has changed. Maybe certain foods don't sit quite right anymore. But here's the good news, the longest living people in the world aren't following some strict diet or trendy plan. They eat simply, and that simplicity is actually what makes their meals so powerful. In Okinawa, the elders have a saying, "Hara hachibu." It means, eat until you are 80% full. They don't eat until they're stuffed or overly full, they stop when they're just satisfied. That one little habit alone helps reduce strain on the body, keeps digestion smoother, and prevents overeating. Imagine the difference that could make, even if you tried it for one meal a day. Just pausing, putting the fork down, and giving your body a moment to say, that's enough. Their meals are also full of color. You'll see vibrant greens, yellows, reds, vegetables from the garden, beans, sweet potatoes, a little bit of rice, maybe a piece of fish now and then. And it's not about restricting, they enjoy their food. But they lean on plants. Lots of fiber, natural flavors, and minimal processing. In Ikaria, Greece, where people regularly live past 90 and 100, the local diet is full of wild greens, olive oil, lentils, and fresh herbs. They even enjoy a bit of red wine in the evenings, with friends, not alone. So here's a gentle idea to take with you. What's one little change you could make this week? Maybe adding a handful of leafy greens to your lunch. Swapping white rice for sweet potato. Drinking an extra glass of water in the afternoon. These aren't big, dramatic changes, they're small shifts that can ripple out and create real transformation over time. Now, let's step away from the table for a moment, because there's something else these centenarians do beautifully, something that doesn't come in a bottle or from a doctor's office. It's how they manage stress. And the secret isn't to avoid stress completely, it's to process it, gently and regularly, before it settles into the body. In Costa Rica, many elders wake up early to watch the sunrise. They sit quietly, drink their morning coffee slowly, and ease into the day. There's no rush. No pressure to fill every moment. In Sardinia, it's not uncommon to see older men sitting outside their homes, just watching the world go by. They chat with neighbors, play cards, and let the day unfold at its own pace. And in Okinawa, many people practice rituals like ancestral worship, not out of obligation, but out of reverence. It's a daily practice that grounds them, connects them to something bigger, and gives their minds a sense of calm and continuity. You might not live in a mountain village or a sunlit island, but you can create your own moments of stillness. Maybe it's a quiet walk after lunch. A few minutes of slow breathing before bed. Writing a few lines in a journal. Or simply turning off the TV for a while and sitting near the window, watching the birds. These small rituals can work wonders on the heart. And the more we practice them, the more resilient we become, not just emotionally, but physically too. One last thing that truly sets these long-living communities apart is their attitude toward aging itself. In many modern cultures, aging is seen as something to resist, to fight against. But in places like Ikaria, Sardinia, and Okinawa, aging is seen as a gift. Older people aren't pushed aside, they're respected. Listened to. Valued. There's a woman in Loma Linda, California, a place with a surprising number of healthy centenarians, who's over 100 still teaches Sabbath school to the younger members of her community. Her presence is cherished. Not tolerated, cherished. And that makes a difference. When you feel seen, appreciated, and included, your spirit stays bright. You carry yourself differently. You move through the world with a quiet confidence that nourishes you from the inside out. So if you've ever caught yourself thinking, I'm too old to start something new, or that ship has sailed, let this be a gentle reminder, you are still becoming. Right now. There are new joys waiting to be discovered, even in the everyday. A new dish you haven't tried. A friend you haven't met yet. A flower you could grow with your own two hands. Aging doesn't mean closing doors, it means opening new ones. Ones you might not have had time or courage to open earlier in life. That's what makes these centenarians so inspiring. It's not just that they live longer, it's that they keep living. They keep loving, laughing, learning, and giving. They embrace each new sunrise like a quiet miracle. And that's something we can all carry with us, no matter where we are or how many candles were on our last birthday cake. So, take a deep breath. Look around. And know that you have time. You have so much life left to enjoy. You're not behind. You're not late. You're exactly where you need to be. And there's more waiting for you, so much more.